this defect, right? Okay, so this defect, this is actually valid defect actually. This is a very good finding actually. So the zip code for New Jersey cannot be 2. That's right. This is a very, it's a valid defect actually. You know what, like, because your zip code, so if you are in New Jersey, you cannot enter, a different address. You cannot, enter California zip code. You're staying in New Jersey. So that will say, that will throw an error. So, I mean, this is, that means they are, using a tool backend which actually, validates that, city with that, um, zip code. So this is a good, good finding actually. This may be a defect. Yeah, most probably it will be a defect when you check with your lead, or with your business analyst, or with your developer, or whoever. Okay, so mostly this, I mean, you cannot say this is a defect because the way the design, the website is designed, the way it is, the things are done. It may be different, but yeah, this is a valid question to for the business analyst. Valid question for the business analyst, that I'm entering a state as New Jersey, and it's accepting the zip code of Maryland. How is it possible? So that's a valid question. Okay, so is that not good finding? So yeah, this is a good defect. Right. That's good that you guys have picked up. It has to validate with the state and with the zip code, because that state doesn't have that zip code, right? So that's good. Okay. Um, so I mean, we are like pretty much done with the testing and um, how to open a defects and how to report a defect. So pretty much we have completed that. Now we'll actually proceed with the more theoretical point of view. Okay, so more like this was more practical way of doing work, like whatever what you will be doing in what. So we'll proceed today with, okay, let's go with, today we'll be having like completely the methodology point of view. Okay, so what the methodology is. Yeah, sure. You can. I'll be sending an email. I mean, I'll be sending recordings. So whoever send who who were not getting in recordings, they send their team email so that I'm forwarding. So whoever is not getting recordings, they can send me an email so that I'll forward the recordings. Okay. So let's start. Okay. So let's let's. Okay. So I'll be giving you access to this SharePoint today. I'm not going to explain this whole tool. Um, Actually, didn't create this. So I'll be creating a new project. So you guys can have to upload the documents. So just go here and just follow the instructions. I'll be sending the instructions. Go ahead and click on files, and you can add these files here. Okay. So make sure you do this. So I'll be sending you over this. So this is pretty much simple. Okay. So I'm not going to explain this whole tool or the SharePoint. It's kind of SharePoint. Okay, so whoever is working will be having this information here. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the documentation part. Okay. Now you have various documents whenever you are going to test, right? You will be working with various documents. Okay. So right from like business requirement and so many documents. Okay, let's go one by one. Like what are those documents? So business requirement document. So business, so it's in short, it's called BRD. Okay, let's see how does it looks like. BRD is it has high level and detailed information about this, very detailed information about an application, about the project. See, this BRD is pretty much high level, so that's the reason it goes, because BRD has access to project managers, developer, architects, testers, everyone has this BRD, whoever working in the project. So they will be of course they will be also looking into that. Let's see quickly. So I'll be giving you access to this Google Drive by today. Okay, so you can take a look. Okay. Here, testing documents, and go to the business report. So let's quickly check into this. Now, so this is a sample BRD. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is it has information like what is the project and what they are trying to do. So they are trying to web integration. They are trying to do web integration. So not necessary you will be you will understand everything what is there in the BRD, and don't expect like to understand everything in just one shot. You can read, you can go go ahead and read some of these documents, and it takes some time. Okay, whenever you try to read this, it will take because see this has lot of information and pretty much high level, so you may not, so it's not necessary you will be understanding everything in that whatever it is written here. Okay, because most of them will not understand, because it is it is because since it's a high level document, BRD is business required document, is a high level document, so everyone has access to this. So that's the reason, like you might not, so only thing which you will be understanding is whatever the information required for as far as testing is concerned. Okay, so let's say those guys who have underlined, right? So that means you have some information related to that testing, so you want to highlight that and work on that one. Okay, so this is BRD. Okay, so it has pretty, it's pretty detailed. And see here, you see this testing related, and whatever the customer impact. So these are different modules in this. Let's say if you're testing related, so you might go ahead and read some of this information related about the testing, saying that okay, so what we have to do and what we are. So not necessary, again, you will not be doing everything in this. Okay, there might be different team on this working on. So you're not the only tester, right? You are just one of them, one of the tester. Okay, so you might have like pretty big team, or if you are working agile, okay, 4 to 5 people. That case, so two people or 3 people will be testing. So not necessarily everything should be related to you. So you might, but you need to know like what you will be doing here and what is your job. Okay, this is BRD, and it has the information related to project. Okay, whatever the information what is going in the project, it has the information in this document. So that's how this BRD is. Okay, so any questions in BRD? So that's BRD. BRD is business required document. Okay, business required document, and it's a high level document which contains information about not only just web application, but it also contains the whole information about the project. So how many web application, how many ETL, what are, if there is an ETL information, then it also contains ETL, and if it is back end information, front end information, so it contains all the information about the project. So it's a high level document that contains information about the project, including web application, client application, ETL, ETL development, ETL testing, and so on. Okay, so that's BRD. Next, let's move to the FRD. It's functional requirement document. So this is similar to FRD. I'm sorry, BRD. Okay, because this is like a little bit more. You're going a little bit specific to that. Okay, so now you're worrying about functional, not by business. Okay, so you're actually being a little bit specific. Okay, so let's take an example here. Let's take a very simple, functional requirements documents. Very simple, easy to understand. Okay. So here is, it has only three, requirement: analysis, design, and that's it. And here's the thing. So this functional requirement, right? This is functional requirement, and it contains information. Okay. So here, what you need to understand is like you have like first name, field value. That means, let's see here. It's similar to what we have done. Okay, so this is not FRD for this website, but what I'm trying to say is like you can relate this. What I'm saying that you can relate this to our testing. So let's say you put that. Okay, and now you put this information right here: name, address, city, state. Okay, the same thing is here. Okay, first name, last name. So you're trying to, what you're trying to do here is, this is the functional requirement for the developer. The developer looks into this and develops an application. So you need to test these fields. That's what it means. So these are the fields. Okay. So these are the field values, like first name, last name, address, city, state. So you need to write a test cases on this and validate the fields. This is very simple, simple FRD, functional required document. And so this has lot of information. So here design goals, so it's of course not related, much related to testing point of view, but for a development or architect level, saying that okay, so they need to create a SQL query, so they will design it. So here's a sample output that should come. So they have all the information, and again it has more information about the layers, how the application. So this is more for a developer point of view. For a tester point of view, only this much of information is enough, because we will be testing this. Okay, if there is any email that is supposed to send the inbox, then of course you need to know this information too, because you have to test this information here. Okay, so that's functional record document. Then you have next one is like system requirement specification. Okay, so let's see if we have SRS. So that's called SRS, system required specification document. Let's see if we have this. So this contains information about the system. Okay, so not only the software, it also contains the hardware, like how many, the server, how many people are using, how many, like, internet connection is there. Lot of information about the system because it's system required, right? So it contains, it's also a high level document, contains information about the system. Okay, and it has, so it has various, various modules, like, what are the description, product perspective, what is the product features, operating environment, design and implementation constraints, so all this information, okay, it contains in the system SRS, system required specification. If there are any additional features, what are the core features, what are the additional features, and then what is the external interface requirements, what are those, and non-functional requirements, and so on. So it contains all the information about the system. So that's why it's called as system required specification. Okay, you can have a look these documents. Okay, then you have PDM. PDM is physical data model. Let's see if I have that. Okay. So this is the documents. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Drawings are not getting shown. Okay. So this is the document. So this is how the PDM. So it contains the information about the uh, data modeling. Okay, so this is like, they have this conceptual data model. Okay, you have this order item, catalog item, and how the relation between. So it's not exactly ER diagram, like entity relationship diagram, but it contains some of the information about that. It contains what, like, how many, like, what are the columns and what are the rows which is going on. So okay, so all this information will be contained in PDM. PDM is physical data model and contains information about the various tables, physical data tables. Okay, so this is, see here, you see this example, this is kind of ER diagram. Okay, so this is a data model for an application. Okay, okay, so this is more for a back-end point of view. Okay, so as a QA, you may not require this. As a QA, you may not always require this, but as a back-end you might require this because you want to see what, which keys is related to which, where is the natural key, where is the candidate key, you know which primary key we are using, which foreign key we are using, and so on. Okay, so those kind of information will be there in this PDM. Okay, but it contains about information about the table. So normally PDM contains information about the tables. Okay, and next you have, okay, LDM, so logical data modeling. Do we have this LDM? So this contains information. So this is a similar to PDM, but it contains information about the tables. I'm sorry, views. Instead of tables, it contains information about the views. Okay, it's a similar to PDM, but it contains the logical data information. Okay. Next you have this HLD. So HLD is like high level design. I don't think I have that in this. So it's like HLD. You can say that, let's say you have this. Let's take an example here. Okay, so you have this call flows. So, you have this call flows. Um, let's take an example. Okay, so let's say you are using a phone, right? You are using your phone and you're trying to call. So let's say you're trying to call customer care, like Bank of America. So whenever you're trying to call the customer care, so you don't just directly go to the customer care, right? You go to various IVR, so interactive voice response. That's called interactive voice response. And once you say your information, So it slowly moves you to the next, next step and next step and next step. Okay, then if you give more and more information, then it goes to the next step, and then you can connect to the customer care, the real physical person who will be working on it. Okay, so that is, there is a call flow for that. So that means if you say some information, it goes to the next flow. Okay, so if you say wrong information, then it goes back to again main menu. Okay, so all this information, so that kind of call flows, it's called high level design. Okay, so that's an example. So I mean, don't take it, that's the only thing that will be there in the high level design. That's an example. Okay, for example, call flows. So you normally draw those in a graphical representation. So you will do, you'll do whenever the IVR call flows, right? Whenever you're calling in customer care, those graphical representation is done, in pie, in the flows. Okay, in the call flows you'll be doing it. So that is there in the mostly in the high level design. Okay, so you'll be having various diagrams like diamond box and square and rectangle boxes and so on. Okay, based on the requirement you'll be using that. So that is like high level design. Okay, and now you have this technical design document. So TDD is more, TDD is more for a like ETL point of view. So let's say you are running jobs. Okay, you have this autosys, right? This is autosys where job scheduling tool. It's a job scheduling tool where you actually run jobs, right? So whenever you are trying to have this, you have to run these jobs, right? So you need a document for that. The reason, because you have so many jobs that are independent jobs, dependent jobs. So which job has to run, because there are plenty of things that will be running. So all this will be, again, this will be in a graphical representation. Let's see, we have this document. So normally all this will be, will be there in the, this is like TDD, technical design document. Let's take in here notice. So here you can view this. So let's say you're working on this. Once you've done this, you will move to the next next step. Again you'll be moving to the next step, user, then you're going to move to the next step. So and that's see, here's the thing. Here you can see this is kind of like this, where you will be, once you finish this, this you'll be moving into the next forward step. So this is an example. Okay, so example of an technical design document. Okay, this not only just contains this diagram but also other information like how we are going to proceed and what are the dependent jobs and what are the independent jobs, if there is any other risk and any other contingencies and so on. So all this information will be there in this. Okay, so let's check it out. This. So that is about here there is no actually drawing in this. So normally you'll be having this flows. Okay, okay, so this is also in a technical design document. So it contains information about like technical features. Okay, so whatever the technical information about like what project you're working on and what are the various flows, like how we need to proceed. Is all this information, not only just graphical representation. Okay, so let's move to the next one. STM. STM is source to target mapping document. So you have this. Let's see. Mapping document. Second one. So this STM, right? Let's quickly check. Okay, good. Now, so what does this STM contain? So STM contains information about the source and as well source and target. So let's say you have the source. Now you have the source. Okay, you have the source column, the source table. Okay, and what are the various primary keys for that? What are the, if not, what are the natural keys? What are the candidate keys and so on? Okay, let's say here. Let's check quickly. Okay, here this BDW. That means, see, BDW means business data warehouse. Okay. So BDW, then you have EDW, enterprise data warehouse. Okay. Okay. So here you have this target column name. Okay. You have this target column name. This is target data type, column data type. Okay. Then you have like, BDW primary key. Is this primary key? See here you see this primary keys are too many, right? You have like 1, 2, 3. So for one table, if you have these many primary keys, then it's called composite primary key. Okay, so let's not worry about that. We'll be learning on ETA classes. Okay, and then you have this reference code. Okay, the same way now you also have the information about the source field name, source data type, source field data type, source to the mapping rule. So see, not necessary. See, sometimes like most of the time it's like ETL. That means you have this uh, transformation logic is mostly done on the target, not on the source. But there are also scenario where the transformation logic is done on the source. So not really the source, actually the staging area. So they'll put on the staging area and they'll tell you, okay, the source. Okay. So don't get confused with, okay, why the source really has this mapping rule. Okay. So they can have mapping rule for anything, either the target or the source. Normally standard is like, you'll be having mapping rule for the target. Okay, so this is the business logic. So based on this, we'll be writing the SQL query and then executing that. And then you have like business remarks. Okay, all this. So this is STM, source to target mapping document. So what does the source to target mapping document contains? It contains information about the source, source table, source column, source data type, table name, all the table information. Okay, and also the target column name, target table. Okay, target data type, all those information. So it contains, so that is like STM. So I can give you, I'll be giving you access for this, so you can view this documents. Okay, so let's move to the next topic. Any questions so far? Any questions which you want to know? More information about this document? So if no one has questions, let's move to the next topic. So we go to the normally these are like definitions. See, it's mostly it's a definition. Sure. So normally, you will be, so what is TDD? So technical design document, so which contains information about the, technical design such as call flows or, information about your, jobs which are running, from the source to target or source to stage and so on. Okay. So that's the like, definitions. If you want to view these documents, how to look like, you can just, you can look like, you can see this documents here. Okay. So only the definitions part. Okay, so let's move to the next, that is test plan. So test plan, is a high level document. So what is a test plan? It's a high level document which is prepared by the lead. So normally QA lead. So QA lead will be preparing this document, and it contains information about various information like features what are to be tested and features what not to be tested. How are you going to approach? Okay, what is the item like pass fail criteria and a testing task, and what are the environment needs and so on. So all this information is contained in the test plan. Okay, so what is a test plan? Test plan is a high level document which is prepared by the QA lead. Okay, so that's it. I mean, the definition is that's it. But if you want to add more information, of course you can add like what are the various features. So you have these features, right? There are features that has need to be tested and features not to be tested. Okay, and how do you approach? What are the testing tasks related to that? Okay, so that is about test plan. Let's see this quickly. So here you have this test plan. Plan. I'll be giving you homework. Oh, let's see here about the test plan. This is the test plan. So this is a high-level document. We have this version history. Okay, this all this will be okay. So this is what I was talking about. It contains information about what are the various risks. What are the testing approach. Okay, what are the test deliverables. Okay, and if you are doing functional testing, so what are the risks in that? What are the how do you approach for that? And if you are doing load testing, again the similar process. What are the pass fail criteria? Again, if you are doing performance testing, the similar process will be following. Again, for regression testing, stress testing, and so on. Contains all the information about the project, like how are you going to move forward with this. Okay. So let's move to the next topic. Test strategy. Okay, so the strategy. So it's an high level document. So it's also an high level document which is prepared by the QA lead. So okay, as a QA tester, you may prepare or you may not prepare, but you will be giving inputs. Okay, so because your lead will be saying, okay, this is the features. What we need to add in this? Anything else to add? So you need to give features. Okay, so this is the this is we need to add. Like we have to also add a suspension criteria. You have to also add how much the training time is taking. Okay, staffing, how much staffing and training time is taking. Okay, what are the risks we are going to face? So all these things should be added. You need to give inputs. Okay, you lead will be preparing, but you need to give your inputs. So what that should be added. Okay, and like let's go to the next one. Test strategy document. Okay, so test strategy, actually test plan and test strategy is similar but not same. So some people, right, just know if you are working in some companies, right, some people will take it as same. Test strategy for them it's same and test plan is also same. So go with the flow, just don't argue with them like no, this is test strategy, this is test plan. So you don't have to explain anyone what's the difference, but technically those two things are different, because test plan is more you know is more like related to the planning, how you are planning with that, and test strategy is like more related to approach. How are you going to approach to that? Once it is planned, how are you going to approach? So this is approach one way or the other way or so on. Okay, so that's the difference, actually technical point of view. So also it's different, like some of the okay, so here's the document. So it contains information about whatever the like roles and responsibilities, environment requirements. Okay, and test priorities, test groups, and requirement traceability matrix, and so on. So all this information contains in the test strategy. Okay. So it's a similar to test plan, but it's a little bit technically different. So if you're going as a planning side, then you test plan. If you're going as a approach, how you are going to approach to that, then you need to find the test strategy, because it's related to strategy, right? How we're going to approach that particular application, testing or application development or application architecture. In that case, like, two things are different. Okay, so but otherwise, if, like, if they say, like, in company, like, both are same, no, we are using this both the same, then go with the flow. Don't, you don't have to argue with them, like, test plan is different or test strategy is different. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, that is test cases. So we know test cases, we have written test cases. So what is a test case? Test case is a high level document prepared by the QA tester or QA analyst. Okay, and what does it contain? It contains information about test case ID, objective, steps to perform, expected result, pass fail criteria, pass fail, and comments. So this is the information that it contains in the test cases, right? So, test case. So to define the test case, right? When you say, somebody asks, okay, what is the test case? So test case is a high level document prepared by the QA analyst or QA tester, and it contains information about test case ID, objective, steps to perform, expected result, pass fail, and comments. This is the information that contains in the test case. Okay, well, we are writing, we will be, having only two, right? One is expected and one is the actual result. But to be more detailed, you need to say all this information. Okay. Then you have, so any questions? Any questions in this? So then we have next the migration document. Okay. So migration document normally, right? So this document we require to migrate from one, data, one environment to another environment. Let's take an example. Okay, so let's say you have this Teradata database, and client is migrating that Teradata to Oracle. Now the SQL queries for Teradata is different. Okay, the approach, the way you, code, do all this coding is a completely different. Teradata and Oracle is completely different. Okay, now you need to have separate document for migration documents. So what we need to migrate, what are the various migration, what are the environment we are going to migrate, okay, and what are the various migration features, and so on. So all these things, information will be there in the migration document. So that's the reason we need a migration document. Okay, it's a, so what is the migration document? It's a document to, to make sure to migrate, information from one environment to the another environment. So let's say you are using Teradata, now you want to use Oracle, now you want to have this migration document. Because why do we want to have migration document? Because the way things to operate, to write a SQL query, to use those tools, various tools, right? You'll be using various tools. All this will be different in the different environment. Oracle has its own way to do the work, and Teradata has its own way to do the work. That's the reason you need migration document. The reason, right? Because if someone new, newcomer joins, okay, let's say he needs some information, right? So what we are trying to migrate and what we are migrating. So that thing is very important, because nobody will be telling you. Once you get in the project, you need to figure it out yourself. No one tells you, okay, do this and do that. Okay, that's the reason you need this migration document. So with this, we are done with all documentation. Let's move quickly through SDLC. So I use more time here. So does anyone have any issues? Like, I'll take 5 to 10 minutes more. Okay. So SDLC. So what is SDLC? SDLC is software development life cycle. Okay. And I'm not going to explain this whole slide because not everything is required. We'll only go what is required. Okay, so let's go to SDLC. So let's take a quick look on SDLC. So let's see. Okay, so here, so what is the SDLC? So SDLC, software development life cycle. It is the incremental and integrated process. I'm sorry. Okay, it's not an incremental integrated. Okay, it's an okay. SDLC is software development life cycle. Okay, and it has various phases. Okay, various phases. This life cycle has various phases. Okay, so here you see this 10 phases. Like you can take it as 10 phases, and it has its information about detailed information about each and every phase. Okay, so now if you have time, you can go through this 10 phases, but I'll stick with only five to six phases. Okay, and there is like requirement phase, design phase, implementation, test, installation, and maintenance. Okay, just I'll stick to 6 phases. Okay, if you want, like, you can go into more detailed part. Okay, you can go as 10 phases, and you can explain that, but let's I'll stick to this only 6 phases. So let's go each and every phase in detail. Okay, so let's go to the requirement phase. So in this phase, in the requirement phase, business analyst or product owner. Okay, business analyst or product owner gathers all the information about the requirements. So what should be the requirements and how are you going to proceed with that? So also they will be having a meeting. Okay, and they will be having on this meeting, and we will be having with the developer, the tester, project manager, most importantly. Okay, and they'll be seeing, like, how to move this project forward, and they will come up with the requirements, saying that, okay, so this is a functional requirement. How are we going to proceed with that? Okay, all this information will be discussed in the requirement phase. Okay, so there's a lot of things to discuss in requirement phase. Then you have, like, design phase. This is so in the design phase. So this is a job of architect. Okay, where the architect designs this. So how the let's say if it is in ETL, like, this all the architect information, like, having that ER diagram, like, using the ER diagram, you come up with various columns, various data, what are the various types. So all this information will be done in the design phase. It's a job of an architect. And then you have, like, implementation phase. So in this phase, you will implement all this, whatever you have designed in the architect, right? You'll be implement that in and get into the system. Okay, so this is job of more of a developer point of view. So requirements is job of a business analyst. Design is more for a architect level. Implementation is more for a developer. And then you have test. Test is more for as a testing. So here we will be testing. So we'll be testing all what we have done so far. We'll be start testing. So for a tester only 1 week. Last, if you are going with waterfall methodology, right? So you have only 1 week, not more than that. Okay. Then you have this installation. Once the testing is done, the code, whatever the code in the QA, should be moved to the production. So that is done by a middleware team. So there will be a middleware team, or, like, another team will be working on. So that is the installation. So that is done in the installation phase. Then you have this maintenance. Once it's done, you have to make sure there are no production issues. Right? If there are any production issues, then you need to work on that. Okay. Normally this will be will be developer will be involving in this, or some senior QA or senior QA lead, or QA will be working on this. So these are the various phases. So 7 phases: requirements, design, implementation, test, installation, and maintenance. Right? So So this is also similar to waterfall. The reason this waterfall, right? Because it's one way. If you have any issues, you need to again go back to requirements and get to fix that, and you have to move one by one. So you know, if you have any issues in between, you cannot just move to okay, correct in next phase. Just you need to go again from scratch. That's why it's called waterfall. You know, just like doing waterfall, it only goes one way, right? You cannot go move upwards, only downwards. So that's the reason. Yeah, this waterfall methodology. Okay, so my question to you guys is, as a tester, as a QA, from which phase does our job start from? Can anyone say? From which phase as a QA? So I'm a QA guy, and from which phase does my job start from? Okay, so I got many answers. So okay, so somebody said like first phase. So can can anyone tell like why it should start from first phase? Right. So as a tester, as a QA, our job starts right from the requirement phase. You know, it doesn't matter whatever it is. We are going to start from. See, like if you say like no, our job starts from test phase. So what do you think we are doing? We will be idle with that time, right? So the three phases will be idle. So do you think like they pay for being idle? No, right? Nobody pays for you to be an idle. So our job starts right from the requirement phase. Okay, so in the requirement phase, right? So what we'll be discussing various requirements. So what are the requirements? And they'll say, okay, how are you going to proceed? So how are you going to test? All we'll be having like meeting. Okay, so meeting, and whenever the business analyst says, okay, so this is what we are going to move. So you might find issues from there itself, right? Okay, so why this document has these issues. This document might have issues like saying that okay, this is this is not we can proceed. Why? Because we have this test environment where we are actually using it, and we only have this one QA environment and we cannot proceed with any other. So that's an issue, right? So then you need to come up with solution, right? So so our job starts right from the requirement phase. Okay, so you'll be having this discussion with the team members, including project manager, testers, business analyst, okay, everyone. And then in the design phase, let's say we have completed this requirement phase and we have solved all these issues, whatever they are issues, we fixed it. Let's come to the next design phase. In this design phase, as a QA, we'll be working on test plan document. Okay, so we'll be working on test strategy document. Okay, we have to work on test cases. Okay, so all this, so we'll be working. So whenever the architecture is preparing those, is doing his job, we need to, we'll be working on these documents. Next, come to the implementation phase. Let's say there's like too much work, test strategy, test plan. So here we'll be, writing out test cases in the implementation phase. Whenever this, developer is coding, developer codes in this implementation phase, right? So tester will be writing the test cases. Next, in the testing phase, now here what we are going to test. This is what we'll be going to test. Okay, and in installation phase, we will be working with the third, middleware team, or like whoever the middleware team, or the other team will be working on, to make sure that code is deployed in the production. Maintenance phase, this is normally for QS, senior QS who will be working, what the issue is, what are the various issues that will show up. Okay, so mostly QA, senior QS. So as a tester, we will be starting right from requirements, because there might be document issues, there might be lot of information which might not be correct, or lot of issues. So that's the reason we start right from requirement phase. Any questions in this? After that, I'll move really quick. So this has its own disadvantages and advantages. So so one of the so personally I like waterfall, but thing is it's not good. It's not good for the client, because uh, see, for to complete a 6 month project, you need to wait. You need to wait for like 6 months. But in Agile, that 6 month project is done in 1 month. That's it. Okay, that's like moving very fast. Okay, so now the client is saving money, right? So 5 months they have save on products, they have save on employees and so on. So that's the reason client wants to move on Agile. Okay, so the advantage is, when you want quality is more important than cost. So if you want the quality product, so in Agile there is no more quality. Okay, so everyone are moving in Agile, the quality has been completely gone. Okay. So I'll show you an example in future. I'll be future classes. I'll be showing an example. Not even Google, right? These days, like I thought, like Google is good and there's quality. No, now not even Google has quality. There's so many bugs, so many issues. Okay, so waterfall is important when quality is more important than cost. Okay, so that's the more most advantage of this waterfall methodology. Okay, and it also has its own disadvantages. One is like requirements should be known upfront. So whenever you have these requirements, because if you change some requirement in between, you cannot move again. You need to go from scratch. Okay, that's the problem with this. Okay, so let's move to the next. This is one more. So there are so many methodologies. So the other one is V-shaped SDLC model. Okay, the similar process. Process is similar. This requirement, design, implementation, test, installation, maintenance. This will be constant for every methodology except for Agile. Okay, Agile is like completely different thing. Except for Agile, everything will be like the same process. So in the V-shaped model, the same process is followed here. Okay, so except that here you're following the two parallel things at once. See this? Here your project and requirement planning and your production operation. Your product requirements and your system acceptance system. So you're following the two things at once. So this is called V-shaped. Okay. It's not that important. Like I've done many projects, but I've never seen like V-shaped SDLC model. But yeah, there might be methodologies. So sometimes like there are methodologies which uh, they have done only by the clients and nobody uses. They have their own style of doing that part. So methodologies is for like the way the work is done. So that's the reason you need methodology, right? So it's more for a management perspective than technical point of view. Okay, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Move to the next topic. We also have this RAD. You can go ahead and read some of them if you're interested. Otherwise, just you don't have to mug up everything, or you have to know everything. Just read it once, and it's good to understand. It's like kind of good to know. Okay, don't have to by heart or something like that. Okay. Then you have like incremental SDLC model. Here It's a similar process again. You have this, design, code, integration, implementation, but here you are doing, verification and validation here. So that's called incremental. That means you are incrementing more. So you have more, you know, where you are doing verification and validation. So that's about incremental. Okay, let's go to the next topic. Spiral SDLC. Here you have four quadrants. Okay, the quadrants here are like, first quadrant, it's like objective, second quadrant evaluate, third quadrant is develop, and fourth quadrant is plan. So you go, move the spiral way. Okay, so you move the spiral way. So that's why this is called a spiral SDLC. This is based on the more quadrant. Okay, and that's called spiral SDLC. Okay, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Let's move to the next topic quickly. So okay, agile. So agile, I will be taking complete class for this like Monday. So we'll be working on this Monday in agile. So I'll be explaining everything in agile. We'll go from terminology. So in agile, most importantly, you have to know its terminology. Okay, so we'll work on that. So there is two things in agile. I mean, there are many things, not just two things. Okay, so there is like extreme programming, and you have this one Scrum, and you have one more like called as Kanban. Okay, you have this Kanban, Scrum, extreme programming, and so on. So many things. So mostly I'll be discussing about the Scrum. Okay, Scrum is more ceremonial kind of thing where you gather people and a lot of stuff. So Kanban is good actually, but Scrum is more famous. Okay, so we'll discuss about that on Monday. And then we have this. Okay, so this is one more framework. We also have this adaptive resiliency. Just good to know that these many methodologies you have, and just to you don't have to know every methodology as such, everything, but just you can know like various methodologies. Okay, we have waterfall, we have incremental SDLC, and we have like spiral methodology. You have like, so that's it. I mean, you don't have to go in detail and know how to do and what to do, but just to good to know. Okay. So that's it about SDLC. Let's move quickly to the next topic, STLC. Okay. 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 Good. So STLC, you know, so SDLC, actually we have talked about SDLC, right? Software Development Lifecycle. So that is more for a development perspective. Okay, not just only development perspective, but it's more concerned with the developer point of view. Here STLC, software testing lifecycle, is more more into a testing point of view. So if you go and ask your developer what is STLC, he will not answer. It's not his job. He doesn't do testing. Okay, he does testing whatever related to development point of view, not as testing point of view. Okay, so STLC is more related to testing point of view, and only information about this is related to tester, QA analyst, QA tester, lead, QA manager, QA director, and so on. Only that hierarchy. Only these have this information about testing lifecycle. Okay, so what does it contain? Contains like test plan preparation. So we already discussed about that. Test case design. So we know about this. Test execution and test log preparation. Okay. Defect tracking. Test report preparation. So we have discussed all this. Test plan. Test plan, right? Test plan is prepared by the QA lead. It's a high level document prepared by the QA lead, and normally we give, as a tester or QA analyst, we give inputs to the lead, and so that we can complete this test plan. And you have like test case. Of course, test case is a high level document prepared by the QA analyst or QA tester. It contains information about step, test case ID, expected result, pass fail criteria, actual result, comments, so on. Test execution and test log preparation. Here in this case, right, you have this rally. Yes, Rally made it simple actually. So, so in this test execution, we have done this. Okay, so we have actually done this. So let me show you. You have this test one. We'll go to this. So you have this, test cases. You prepare test cases. Remember, and this we have executed this. You see this successfully. This is test execution. And test log preparation, that means you are logging something, that means you are putting some information here. Okay, so you are putting some screenshots or attachments, something, some information here. So that's like test execution and test log preparation. Okay, defect tracking, and we have also done this where you go to the defects and and create defects. This is defect logging, right? And opening defects and tracking. I'm sorry, this is the tracking. So that means you will be tracking this defect. That you have this number DE237. You go ahead and click on quality and and you track this. You track this. So you have this ID, right? Remember, what was this ID number again? 37. Oh, there you go. Okay, so 237. So this is called defect tracking, right? So this is called defect test report preparation. So we have also done this, to prepare the reports. Go to the report section and prepare. So this is testing life cycle. So we have like how much? Five topics with test plan preparation, test case design, test execution and test log preparation, defect tracking, test report preparation. This is a job of a QA, to sum up, to sum everything here. This is a job of a QA. So this has the detailed information that I already told you. I can go through it. Okay. Any question in STLC? Okay. So we have discussed about this defects priority too, right? Defects severity and defects priority. So let's quickly go to this bug life cycle. So here, so again, we have done this. Okay, we have done all this. So let's be little quick. So once you open a defect, it's in the new status. So as I told you, always put into the open status, not in the new or submitted. Should be always in the open status. Once you put in open status, you assign a developer. Okay, you assign a developer or architecture or some guy, right? Even business analyst might have some documentation, you can assign that. Okay, so you assign that person. So once you assign it, it either goes, either it guys fixed it or it gets rejected or deferred. So the reason rejected, they will put some reason saying that this is not defect, or they might say it's working fine in my machine. Okay, so that might be a reason. Okay, so that gets rejected. Deferred in sense they are moving. See, developers may not have time to fix your defect. So what they'll do is they defer it. That means it goes to the next release, not this release. So that's the reason you need this defer. Okay, because they don't have time to fix it. They are working on thousands of things. Okay, they might not fix this in this release, so they'll defer it. So that goes once it gets fixed. So there's supposed to be one more block here fixed. Then you test it. Then you say, no, this is not fixed. No, I still have an issue. Then you reopen the same defect. Again, you assign this. So this time it might be different developer or different person. Okay. Then again the same process follows. It gets rejected or fixed or deferred. Then you test it again. Then you verify it and then you close the defect. So this is defect lifecycle or bug lifecycle. Okay. So we have done this, right? Let me show you quickly what we have done this. Go to here. Go to defects, shipping and handling. See, here you have this option, right? You see this? So we are discussing about the state here right now. Okay. So what this defect life cycle is about, the state in this rally. See this? Submitted, open, fixed, close. So this is what we are discussing about. This is the flow. How the flow is going on. The only state we were discussing all this about. Okay. So any questions? So I'll be giving you homework on SharePoint. Make sure you guys do the homework. And Monday we'll be going to Agile. So I'll take complete Agile. One class. Any more questions? Okay. Yeah, Pradeep, do you have any question? Sure. So I'll be giving you recordings. You can go ahead and um, read the recordings. Okay. And maybe I'll also forward you all the homeworks. Okay. So you can also work on that one. Okay. So this is my syllabus actually. So if you also have this syllabus, okay, you can find this syllabus in this Google Drive. So I'll be giving you access by today this Google Drive. So here you'll be having this syllabus. Okay. Go to QA class. All this information what I told you, right? So you'll be having all this in this. Okay. So you know this whatever slides I've told you. So all this will be there in the Google Drive. Okay. Yeah. So my if you want my number, you can reach me like it's like 732-333-4781. But it's better to reach me through email so that if I missed your call, you can email me so that I will call or we can set up some time. Okay, because sometimes I might not be there on the desk or something. Okay, but yeah, if you want to call, then 732-333-4781. Okay, so I would recommend to send me an email first, then you can call, so that if I missed, or you want to call me, so I can call you back. So that's the reason. Okay. Any questions? So I also have few of the softwares here, so you can go ahead and look at these softwares. Okay. So Monday, remember, like, your homework is due for your certification. Complete the certification. If you have not done, this is, you can do it by this weekend. I mean, like, if someone who have missed, right, you can see this. You can get like, okay, not this. Oops. So yeah, I've forwarded the book also. If you have interest, you can read through the information. So if you might you can get a certification like this saying that you have successfully completed. And this is from Microsoft actually. Because it's the MBA, okay, Microsoft Virtual Academy. Okay, so here you have this one. I mean, it's free. That's the reason I requested. It's free, completely free. Thus you sit it at home and you don't even have to move from away from your laptop, just sit on the laptop and just edit, and it's just a matter of some hours. Okay, it's like 5 to you just go through the videos and write the test there itself immediately on the laptop, and just write it and you get it in the dashboard. Okay, you'll be getting this. So this is okay. Okay, so and if you want like another like this one more like solo learn where you can also get this. This is also free. Okay, so you don't have to pay any penny from your pocket. Okay, so that's the reason that just some of your time. That's what it requires. Okay, so yeah, if no one has any questions, so can we close this class for today? Okay, thank you guys.